Human design strategy, wait 28 days. Let's talk about it. The following clip is an excerpt from my Reflector Magic Masterclass. If you would like access to the full masterclass where I talk about reflectors and relationships, manifestation, business, parenting, communication, and a lot more, we go through the entire energetic type, then go ahead and click the link in my description box, and I hope you enjoy it. So this is what I like to call your magic wand. This is how you create the things that you want and cut through all of the noise and the conditioning by waving your magic wand, right? Following your strategy. So as a reflector, you are extremely unique. Okay, you are 1% of the population. We already talked about this. And your strategy is to wait a 28-day cycle. If we're going to sum it all up, if we're just going to give you the quick and dirty rundown, you are looking for consistency over time. There may never, and I say may never, because it could happen. I'm not a reflector, so I don't know experientially what it feels like to be a reflector because I'm not, right? But there may never be a point where you're like, yes, that is the thing, let's fucking go, right? That may never happen. But what you are looking for is consistency over time. The majority of the time, was this a yes for me? Was I clear on what I wanted to do, or was I not? Right? That's what you're looking for. You're looking for a majority. Because unlike generators and manifesting generators, there might not be a boom, yes. That's a yes. For sure, hands down, that's a yes. Or for sure, hands down, that's no. That may never happen for you. I say may never. It could. It's just, it's, So, and the reason for this is because, well, there's a few reasons. Number one, you have access to all of the wands, all of the strategies, all of the centers. You have access to them because you have a sampling aura, which we talked about in the aura module, right? It's really important for you to wait to come to clarity because you have access to so many different types of information, right? You are sampling other people's energy all the time. You are sampling different energy all the time because you are a lunar being. Remember, we talked about that too. So it's really important for you to wait and have a majority. What a majority of the time, what was the decision that felt the most aligned for you? Now, because of this, it is so important that you do not allow, and we're going to talk about this in the relationship module, we're also going to talk about this in the parenting module. It is so important that you set very clear boundaries around your decision-making process when it comes to making big commitments or making big moves in your life. It is so important that you give yourself time to come to those decisions. Do not let anyone, anything, any person force you or rush you into making a decision before you are ready. Please do not do that. Do not allow that to happen. Do not. Now, 28 days. I always recommend, if you are just getting started with human design, if you are just getting started learning this system, wait 28 days for any big decision, any big commitment, any big thing that you're trying to make a decision on in your life and you are new to learning consciously about human design. Wait 28 days. Wait 28 days. Track your lunar cycle. We're going to cover that in a little bit. For at least, I would say at least 2 to 3 months. After 2 to 3 months, once you've gotten a little bit of a feel for it, you have, you know what your specific flow looks like. You know when you have the most clarity. You know the majority of the time when you feel the most clarity, because you've been tracking it for 2 to 3 months, then you can kind of, lean more into, I don't want to say lean more into, you'll have a pattern to follow at that point, right? Because you have been tracking it for 2 to 3 months. You know your pattern, you know your flow, and you can start to go off of that pattern more. But I always recommend, always recommend to track the lunar cycle, the lunar transits, and whenever you can, just wait the full 28 days. Just wait. just wait, right? Another thing that's really important for reflectors is to talk things out. Talk things out or write them down. Trying to come to clarity in your head is going to be difficult for you. Number one, because when you're in your head, you can't necessarily see a consistent pattern. It's a lot harder to see that pattern when it's just up in your brain. But if you're able to talk it out, if you're able to have a voice note diary or something like that, or an actual journal where you write things out, it's much easier to see the consistent pattern, right? So talk things out, write them down every single day when you're trying to make a decision. How do you feel about the decision? What decision feels the most aligned for you in this moment? Do that the entire 28 days and then go back, look at what you said or listen to what you said. What is the majority? What is the majority consensus over this last, 4 weeks? That's how you make your decision. It's through that pattern, and it's through waiting to see what that consistent pattern ends up being. Another thing that can be really helpful is having people around you to kind of bounce things off of, and being in an environment that feels good. You as a reflector, and we talked about this before, your environment is so important because you are so open. You are so open. You are so sensitive. You are always taking energy in. You need to be in an environment that is supportive to you, that is aligned for you, and that makes you feel good. If you are in an environment that feels restrictive or feels abusive or feels dangerous or unsupportive, that is going to affect your ability to make aligned decisions. And you need to get out of there immediately. Immediately. I mean, this is true for everyone. No one should be in an abusive situation, but especially for you, right? So really at the core of it, and what I always, if you're only going to take 2 things away from this module, track the lunar transits and wait 28 days. And I don't want to sound mean, but fuck anyone else. If someone is trying to rush you into a decision, it is not aligned. Especially a big decision. And when I say big decision, I mean moving across the country, selling your life safe, selling your home, marrying someone, big life decisions. You don't have to wait 28 days for what am I going to do for dinner? We're talking about big commitments, starting a graduate program, right? Or big moves, moving across the country. You want to give yourself time. You want to wait. You want to talk it out, write it down, find that pattern. What is the majority? What is that consistent answer that you've gotten over the last 28 days? What is the consistent, aligned decision majority of those 28 days, right? Cultivate your inner circle. Cultivate your environment meticulously. This isn't something that you kind of throw together oh, this is fine. No. Your inner circle, your community, your environment needs to be impeccable because you are so sensitive. That is a priority. It must be for you because that is going to affect so much of your ability to make aligned decisions is if you have good supportive people around you and a good supportive environment. So actually, one more thing before we move on to the next module. I want to give you a little bit of insight on how to track the lunar transits. Okay, so when I say track the lunar transits, I don't necessarily mean the phase of the moon, even though you can do the phase of the moon. I actually quite enjoy doing that, but I'm not a reflector. So you can do the phase of the moon. You can do what astrological sign is the moon in. But what I really want you to focus on is what human design gate is the moon in. And you can do this by go on Google and search human design transits today, and it'll pull up the chart of that day. Look for the moon symbol, it's literally a moon, and look for the gate that the moon is in. That is the lunar transit. That is the lunar transit for tropical human design, or whatever system you use. I use tropical, but if you're following me, tropical. Look for the moon symbol, look for that gate. And how does the moon being in that gate affect your chart? What energy is now activated in your chart with the moon being in that gate? It's really, really important. So I hope this is helpful. I will see you in the next module. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed that snippet of my Reflector Magic Masterclass. If you are interested in getting the full Masterclass, I have linked that in my description box, and I will see you in the next video.